chat. Welcome to the episode where we try not to get canceled. Like we try to talk about current events without saying the things that can get us canceled. Oh my goodness. Why am I doing this to myself? But like, how can I not? Like, I see the article and it's bait. Like, it's gotta be bait. It's like, Ben Shapiro, it's like, come on, V. Talk about him so I can call the German cops on you. Talk about it so I can contact YouTube. I'll shut down my competition. Come on, anyone talk about it. Disagree with my take. Come on. I got a super chat before I even came online from the Dashing Rogue. Welcome back, Dashing Rogue. Little Ben L doesn't understand that just because General Zod is Kryptonian doesn't change the fact that he is evil. Like, Ben is a Kryptonian supremacist. It's also interesting because Benjamin Netanyahu is wanted by the International Criminal Court, right? He's got an arrest warrant. And so I realized that if he actually was to be charged of what he is accused of, I would be legally bounded by law. Like, the legislation in my country would genuinely prevent me from praising or liking Benjamin Netanyahu. Like, there is a law in my country which forbids people of praising or glorifying any individual that has been convicted. I think it's of like human right, not human rights abuses, genocide, war crimes. Like, there's a list of things, and some of those things, it's like what Benjamin Netanyahu is accused. So, like, again, if the ICC was to genuinely apprehend and convict Benjamin Netanyahu, like, not gonna happen, obviously, but like, hypothetically speaking, in this fictional scenario, let's say he visits Romania and he gets arrested, and we send him to the authorities, much to the dismay of every single right-winger in America, then I would, like, be arrested if I was to say good things about him afterwards. Which would be interesting, because in that situation, if he gets convicted, then can you say good things about Israel? Because, like, he was running Israel during the times that he got accused of the things that he did by the ICC, right? And I wonder, like, if the people in Israel can say, well, we were just following orders. Like, look, we were just following up, we didn't do anything. Oh, my God. Anyway, this is a real article, right? We're going to read it later on when more people join. But the article actually goes in. And what is like an anti-Semitic paper? Like, who's the biggest anti-Semite now? It used to be, Louis Farrakhan or something like that, right? Like, he won the anti-Semite award that year. I didn't manage to get it. But, which is like the biggest anti-Semitic person? Is it the Daily Stormer? Like, no, Richard Spencer? No, like, Richard Spencer was way back then. I understand he changed his political affiliation and voted Democrat, right? Who's the biggest anti-Semite? Fuentes. I don't know if he's the biggest, but like, let's take Fuentes, right? Like, Fuentes is the one that doesn't like Jewish people. I remember, like, he went on to Red Note, like that Chinese app, and tried to get himself banned by posting anti-Semitic content. So, like, let's take Fuentes, right? If Fuentes wanted to satirize the release of the JFK documents, could he have done a better job than this thumbnail? Like, could he have done, and by the way, like, this is throughout the media, like, could he have done a much better job than Ben Shapiro did it? Like, if he was to write for The Onion, or if he was to write for the Babylon Bee, and he wanted to, like, have, like, a laugh at the situation, wouldn't he do it like this? And as you can see, like, this is by Ben Shapiro, right? Like, syndicate columnist Ben Shapiro. So, like, Ben Shapiro himself is writing the satire. I don't think, like, this is anything but bait. Like, he wants me to comment on it. Like, Ben Shapiro woke up one day and said, like, I am going to punish V. I'm going to get him canceled. I will make an article that he can't refuse to comment on his channel, and I'm going to get him in trouble. Big trouble. Going to get V in massive trouble. I know it. I know, like... Mel Gibson? Oh, Mel Gibson is anti-Semitic. He used to be, right? But now it's 2025. Braveheart. Anyone talking Ben seriously is kind of dumb. He should be taken seriously as a propagandist and subversive. No, I don't think he's a subversive. Because a subversive is a person you don't expect, right? Like, it's a person that you don't see coming. But, like, Ben is so obvious now. So, like, okay, let's go a little bit through the history of Ben. And how Ben managed to get himself into the position that he is now. So, Mr. Ben Shapiro appears during the peak of the feminist movement, right? Like, when you had, like, women going around like, sexy, sexist, misogynistic pig, you misogynist, sexist, homophobic, bigot, no platform for fascists. And, like, you got these women just absolutely dominating the culture, right? Like, no one manages to challenge them. No one manages, right? So, like, we live in a rape culture. And you would be like, no, that's not what it is. You don't get to tell me. I feel that we live in a rape culture. And if I feel, I'm like the orc from Warhammer 40k. When we feel, it becomes reality. You know? My lived experiences. You're mansplaining. My lived experiences. And, you know, like, the culture took that seriously. And they managed to get CEOs fired. Like it sounds hilarious, but if you live through those times, it wasn't. They managed to get CEOs fired. They managed to get movies, entire productions to cave to their whims, control American entertainment. And then you have, like, Ben Shapiro, right? Like, he appears, he manifests himself, and he is talking with a person that is transgender. I think this is actually what made him go viral, right? So, like, hold on. Let's see. Ben Shapiro debating a person that's transgender. Debates transgender, right? So, like, a person that managed to somehow transition their gender. What is that debate? All right. A lady by the name of Zoe Tour, right? So Zoe Tour, and this is what got Ben to go viral. This is how I even discovered Ben, right? And he debated Zoe Tour.
He's brave. All those years invested as this sports legend, to come out transgender is horribly difficult. It is the most.
So Miss, the beautiful lady Zoe Tour, was talking about Caitlyn Jenner and how stunning and brave Caitlyn Jenner was. Like, when was this taking place? Like, more than 7 years ago, right? Almost ancient history. Wow, like I love her chin. I saw this chin in a AAA game. I think it was God damn it, I forgot the name of it. But like, if you play AAA games, right? Like, a lot of beautiful female characters have this exact chin, like the exact same jawline. Anyway, they were talking about Caitlyn Jenner, and they were saying how Caitlyn Jenner is stunning and brave, and this is before Caitlyn Jenner came out as a Republican. After Caitlyn Jenner became a Republican, then all of a sudden, it wasn't stunning, it wasn't brave, it was abhorrent and disgusting. But before that, right, they really like Caitlyn Jenner, and they're talking about, like, how powerful it is for one of the richest and most famous people in America to come out in public and say they're trans, right? Like, this was, like, colossal. Like, no rich person has the balls to do something like this, right? Like, no wealthy person ever has the audacity to come out in public and say things.
Most difficult thing you can do. I've been overseas. I've flown helicopter missions, surveillance missions. I've been shot, stabbed.
And look at Ben, right? Like, he's trying to take it in. Like, he's trying to understand the conversation, right?
Brave is being yourself, and being transgender.
So basically, it's the same like being in a helicopter. I understand. Like in Vietnam, where you go like da 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 da, and you're afraid that RPGs can fly at you, right? Like, this is the level of bravery that's being displayed.
It's about the bravest thing you can do.
The bravest thing you can do, right? So you may look at certain video footage of soldiers fighting in Ukraine. They're brave, sure, but it's not the bravest thing you can do.
Did she deserve the award?
65?
Yes.
Why are we mainstreaming delusion?
It's not delusion.
Why would you call it delusion?
Because
See, all of a sudden he became a killjoy. Like he just ruined the energy in the room. Like everyone was ecstatic, everyone was happy, everyone was feeling good. It's like, look at Caitlyn Jenner. And then Ben comes up, says the word delusion, just kills the conversation.
Bruce Caitlyn Jenner, I'll call him Caitlyn Jenner
No,
because
it's
that's
her. You're not.
Her. Ben, listen to me. Her. Not him. Her.
Being polite to the pronouns.
Because
disrespectful.
Okay.
This is disrespectful, Ben. You little bitch. Ben. Little bitch sitting in that chair and then being disrespectful. You're not allowed. In America, the country of the free, you're not allowed, Ben. Right? Like, being disrespectful is not stunning, it's not brave, it's not courageous. It is punishable. You're going to get punished, Ben. And if you keep it up, you'll see what happens to you.
No, it's her. You're not being polite to the pronouns.
Because
disrespectful.
Polite to the pronouns, right? Like the pronouns, they reign supreme. They govern the conversation. They govern our lives. They loom over us mortals. The pronouns, they require respect, Ben. Disrespecting the pronouns is unthinkable and it is punishable. You will see what we do to people who disrespect the pronouns.
Okay, forget about the disrespect. Facts don't care about your feelings. It turns out that every chromosome, every cell in Caitlyn Jenner's body is male with the exception of some of his sperm cells. It turns out that his brain structure is male. It turns out that he still has all of his male appendages.
Are you a doctor, Ben? Do you have a license, right? Like, we have politicians, Ben, and they form the government with bureaucrats, and only them can anoint you with the knowledge of medicine. And unless you're a doctor, you don't get to talk about these things. Like, there is no way you can understand these concepts unless you go to med school. Now, sure, you know, you can research it online, but like online is confusing. You know, like if you learn it from books, if you learn it from other people, from your wife, that's a doctor. That is the incorrect way of attaining human knowledge. Like for thousands of years, people learn things by going to the universities that are approved by the state. There is no other way. In any culture, in the universe, there is no other way for people to learn things unless you get a diploma. Like, the diploma is the universe saying that you have mastered the knowledge and you understand it. Any other way is unacceptable.
How he feels on the inside is irrelevant to the question of his biological sex.
I don't agree with that. I'm not on that train. I'm not on that train.
No one is on that train. Right? Did you see what they're doing? Like, they're only getting a single person that disagrees and surrounds them with people that have the different opinion. This is what the media used to do, by the way. This is how you manufacture consent. Like, they could have got, you know, like 3 conservatives and 3 liberals and just have a debate, but they don't want that. They get 1 conservative and 7 liberals in order to have, like, the liberals just dominate the conservative by sheer numbers.
She wants to be called she. I'm going to call her she.
No, she doesn't want to be called she. She wants to be called her. Her. She wants to be called the Gulf of America. The Gulf of America is not the Gulf of Mexico. You have to say it. The Gulf of America. America, that's how you say it. You must speak it. You must say that. This was 7 years ago, by the way.
Have a problem with the message and the messenger.
So well, let's I'm going to do 2 things. I want to reiterate what Zoe said, which is the bifurcation of the courage to come forward after a lifetime as a.
Look at the smugness. I would be smug as well, you know? Like, if you have a room of people that agree with you and there's just one person that you can bully, oh my god, like I would transcend this level of smugness. I would have been even more smug.
Male and a certain kind of a male versus did she deserve this award? Listen, awards, what are award ceremonies except an opportunity to catch some eyes?
Especially the Oscars.
Well, award ceremonies, allegedly, are a recognition that out of all the people on the planet, you excel at something. I mean, yeah, sure, it's an opportunity to catch some eyes, but that's a byproduct, right? But now you kind of understand how the left thinks, right? Like, when they look at an award, or even a job, They don't view it like a job is a role that someone that's the most skilled should fulfill for the betterment of the company, for the betterment of the customers. When they talk about an award, they don't say, okay, well, this is reserved for the best person in the world. Whatever that award is, you know, like best writer in 2024, best video game, best whatever, right? They don't look at it like that. They look at it as a marketing tool. Like it's an opportunity to catch some eyes. It's kind of like, a Victoria's Secret catalog, basically. Like the people posted there aren't because like they want an award. It's because like they want people to see the product. It's kind of like advertising.
Yeah, it's ESPN. Well done, ABC. They did exactly what their job was: to attract eyes. They did it. That's what award ceremonies are for. But in terms of the science behind gender dysphoria, you're very familiar with that. So
Very familiar.
It's not about the chromosome. Excuse me, the chromosomes within
We
our
both know
nuclei. Yeah, go ahead.
chromosomes don't necessarily mean you're male or female.
Gender.
With
We all know, yes. I mean, no, she's right. We all know. The Chinese know, the Indians know, the people from the Middle East know, people from Romania know, and we've always known. We've always known. Like since we got out of the cave. As prehistoric people, like ancient tribes in Africa, they knew. Everyone knows. I don't even know why this needs to be explained. The only thing that people don't know is to answer Matt Walsh's question, what is a woman? Like, that is something that we haven't yet figured out. But, like, the chromosomes, yes, we all know. And we always knew.
Gender identity. Go ahead. No, so
Especially, but even so, you have a thing like Klinefelter's syndrome. So you don't know what you're talking about.
You know, if you come up and you say that humans have two hands, well, that's not true. Like, there are some humans that have a birth defect and they have three hands. I'm not kidding. Look it up. Or there are humans that get born with one hand. Like, are they not human? Just because they're born with one hand, right? So we need to destroy the entire classification system because, like, there are some exceptions, right? Like, there are some people that... It's pretty much like, you know, you have an assembly line at a factory. And all of the bikes that come from the assembly line, they have two wheels. But now you have like a bike that has one wheel. And this completely revolutionizes our understanding of bikes, right? Like it completely demolishes the entire concept that bikes have two wheels. Like, no, obviously, there can be bikes with only one wheel. There can be bikes with no wheels. Because that's how they come up from the assembly line. Like some of them come up differently. And so we can't classify it. In fact, we shouldn't be able to classify anything because if you find a couple of exceptions, even if it's like 1% or 2%, like the entire classification system goes to shit.
You're not educated on genetics.
Obviously, right? And if he was educated on genetics, then it was how can we get him fired?
To discuss the genetics? Or
well, no,
what
no.
are your genetics?
So I'd stay away from the genetics and back to the
Why is she touching him? Right? Why is she touching him?
brain scans.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Yeah, that seems...
That seems anti-Semitic. But at the point, Ben Shapiro wasn't playing that card. He wasn't really in that role. However, like this interview is what made Ben Shapiro to be famous. This is what caused Ben Shapiro to go viral, and this is where he coined his phrase, "Facts don't care about your feelings." It feels nostalgic, doesn't it? American Outlier, thank you for the $10. Hy-Vee, hope all is well. I read that article. Like I say, Ben couldn't make himself any bigger, any minder, although he is right about retrialing Chauvin. But the timing of him saying that this is instigative. Instigative. See? I can speak English. The Dashing Rogue. Alright, hold on. I've already read the super chat. Give me a second. My computer is acting up. I think they're upset that I'm talking about this topic. I should probably cut it out. Right. Well, like, women can be violent. Look, women can be threatening. Why are you guys being such bigots in my chat? Like women can also be a little bit intimidating, right? Like when Don Corleone wants to solve a problem because he has an offer he can't refuse, like he will send a woman, right? I mean, obviously. She cast intimidation on him. She rolled a critical success. Anyway, right, so let's go back to what we were talking about. Ben Shapiro manages to become a person that right-wingers like, because he goes to universities. And you gotta understand, like, at the time, the social justice activists were all about kindness and compassion, right? Like most people, I know it sounds weird, but at the time, like, most people genuinely thought that they're kind and tolerant people. Because that was their PR, right? Like, you had the religious people, the neocons, that managed to create a really bad PR for themselves. Like, they were warmongers. Like, they enjoyed the carnage and the bloodshed of war, right? Like, they would invade other places like Iraq to look for weapons of mass destruction, right? So they loved, like, the Christians at the time, they loved the death. The evangelicals, they loved the cash. Like, you had televangelicals going on TV, screaming and ranting and getting grandma to buy the miracle water, right? And like, all of that ruined the PR of the Christians at the time. Made them look bad. And so, like, you had now the people that are with reason. It's like, okay, this holy book is creating these people to act like madmen. Like, they think Pokemon is satanic, that they don't like Harry Potter, they don't like heavy metal, they like nothing, that they're only about suffering and death and policing others and getting on power trips and making money. That's the PR of Christianity in America right now. That's the view. Like, obviously not every person is, but that's how society views it. And so, you know, like, people tried doing this atheism movement, this cult of reason, if you will, which got hijacked by the woke. And so, you know, and it got hijacked not because of the woke looking for an opportunity. It got hijacked because of the Wall Street protest. But anyway, at the time, they had really good PR, right? Like, the woke were all about tolerance, compassionate, live and let live. But it was just a facade. Well, actually, I don't know if it was a facade. I think there were people that generally believed in that. It's just that you had bigots from the left that came in. And they benefited from the good PR, and they also wanted to make what the Christians used to do, right? Like, they wanted the grift. They wanted to make the cash and to monetize everything. And so people actually thought that they're kind and compassionate. And it turns out that they weren't. But Ben Shapiro was exposing them, right? Like, he was going through the universities and was showing that these people are not compassionate. They're not kind. In fact, they're pretty much the same. Like, they behave the exact same way that the previous ones. It's just like, it's now their turn to get in power. Like, they got the previous people in power just to have, like, a new boss. You know, say hello to the new boss, same as the world boss. Like, the ideology is different, but their behavior, their mannerisms, their bigotry is exactly the same. Champion, don't forget to hydrate. Well, thank you, I will. LBJ worked with Israel on JFK, RFK, and the USS Liberty. Who's LBJ? You need to be a little bit more descriptive. I'm not really that well versed into American politics. Ben Shapiro became famous in 2013 on Piers Morgan debating the Second Amendment. I don't think I've seen that. The viral clip that I see is the one that I showed you. No, it wasn't. Ben became famous after his Piers Morgan Sandy Hook interview. He made Piers Morgan look like an emotional, dishonest idiot. Okay, you know, fine. Like, maybe that was the first one, but this is the interview that I first saw. Anyway, the thing is, like, I really don't like the word, the idea that tolerance is what caused wokeness. The reality is that the religious people couldn't do shit. Right? Like they were powerless to stop the woke movement. It's not like all of a sudden the religious bigots became tolerant. Like, no, they couldn't do shit. Why? Because it was their kids that hated them. Like, it was the new generation that spited them. They didn't have the numbers. They were getting old. And like, literally, they couldn't do anything, right? And so, like, people voted for Obama. People became atheists. They morally decoupled from all the fundies. They stopped going to church. And they couldn't do anything. It's not like all of a sudden the religious people were like, okay, let's become tolerant for a little bit. Oh my goodness, look, the wokes appeared. Right? It's the same thing like the wokes can't do shit now against the new generation. The new generation hates the wokes. Like, their kids hate them. And they vote for Trump. Like, think about how the wokes are being treated now and what's happening and how you have, like, a moral decoupling. It's not like the woke people became more tolerant of the right. It's not like they decided, yeah, you know, like, the right has a point, like, we need to let for free speech. I mean, no, like, that's not what happened. right? Like what happened is that they were powerless to stop the culture shifting to the right. And it's the same thing that happened back then. And I'm pretty sure that when you had the hippies were powerless from stopping people becoming Christian. Wokes don't have kids? Some do, actually. Usually like the corporatist types, right? The ones that go on a laptop. But like, I will tell you something really nasty about the wokes. You know, like them not having kids is a lot worse than having kids. Because if you have a person that doesn't have kids and they're rich and wealthy, and you look at them and they have like a very... I think like it's also what the evangelical Christians try to say. It's like, if I'm wealthy, then God likes me type of thing, right? Like, look how successful I am, so like God must like me. It's the same mentality there. It's like they're... if you have a single person that's not married and he just sleeps around, doesn't have kids, he's going to be a lot more wealthy. And your kids are going to look at that person as a model, as an example. It's like, I want to be wealthy like this guy when I grow up, right? I don't want to be like mom and dad. Like, look, mom and dad is struggling financially. They're complaining about a lot of stuff. Meanwhile, this guy is having the time of his day. Like, he's going clubbing, he's doing all this shit. Right? So, like, they don't have kids, but they can indoctrinate your kids in their ideology. We're coming for your children. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children. Anyway, right. So Ben Shapiro, right? Like, he goes to universities. He manages to expose a lot of this unhinged things that they were doing to the normies. And he's like a really good debater. Like, he's a really good orator, right? He actually knows how to talk to people. And this is why he gets a huge following, right? And the Daily Wire becomes also extremely successful, getting a lot of views. And so, like, people say he's based. And for the time, he was based. Because you couldn't contradict him, you know? Like, facts don't care about your feelings. How can you debate against that? I mean, it's true, right? Like, facts don't care about your feelings. And, I think, like, he requested the retrial of Chauvin. Like he had a lot of unpopular takes, let's say. You know, that went against the grain of what's in the overtone window to say. Like, during the BLM protests, he was against them, even though, like, everyone was for it. Talked about Kyle Rittenhouse. Right? Like, he provided an alternative viewpoint that didn't exist in the media. Now you notice that a couple of problems start arising. Ben really likes Israel. I mean, it's no secret, right? Like, he likes it a lot. But when it comes to Israel, all of a sudden, facts don't care about your feelings don't seem to apply, and he seems to make conflicting statements. Like, for instance, in one statement, which was a couple of years ago, he basically said that Israel doesn't need America's money because Israel can defend itself. And he has a point. Like, Israel is a very strong economy. It's got one of the world's strongest military. We saw what Mossad did in order to humiliate their enemies. I mean, that thing with the pagers, Jesus fucking Christ, right? The assassination of that guy that went to Iran, like, they managed to fire a missile through a window. They're definitely competent. Like, look, like when it comes to Israel, yeah, like if I was their neighbors, I would be scared shitless of fucking with them. Like that level of Secret Service is like, holy shit. And so, like, Ben's saying, it's like, well, Israel doesn't need America's money. It's like, well, I mean, I guess they don't, right? Because, like, they can definitely take care of themselves. Like, that's a matter of national prestige as well. It's like, we can handle our own shit. Like, that actually does look like a strong nation. But then, you have the conflict that happens with Palestine, and all of a sudden, you know, like, Ben is recorded saying something differently, saying that, no, you need to give money to Israel, because otherwise Iran has nukes, World War III, nuclear Armageddon, and it's like, well, chotomate, what changed? Like, what seems to have changed? There was another thing, like, there was the conversation about free speech, right? So, like, Ben, when there were, like, certain companies that were woke, Ben were saying, it's like, oh, well, you know, like, they have free speech and they have the right to be woke, which, again, as a person that does champion free speech, I agree. Yeah, like, a company should be able to be woke and people should be able not to buy from that company. Fair enough. But then when Ben and Jerry ice cream said that they stand with Palestine. And all of a sudden, Ben Shapiro doesn't believe that Ben and Jerry has free speech and was absolutely livid, very condemning of the ice cream corporation. Which, you know, like, I understand that part as well, but, like, can you pick a side, though? Like, when a company says something bad, do we call it out, or do we allow it to have free speech? Like, which one is it? Now, the thing that really got people upset is with Candace Owens. So, Candace Owens is another celebrity. This black lady that, despite the fact that the Democrats want more black women in power, they really don't appreciate the fact that she's in the media. She's got like a lot of spicy takes. But she was working with Ben Shapiro, right? And Ben Shapiro is really big on free speech. Allows people to have differences of opinions. And Candace Owens doesn't seem to be pro-war in Gaza. Like, she's like, no, we need to chill out. And Ben Shapiro didn't like that, and he got in a beef with her. And eventually, right, like, she leaves the Daily Wire. So, like, it's all these patterns of behavior that a lot of people don't seem to appreciate from the facts don't care about your feelings guy, from the free speech activist, you know? The timing of this article could raise eyebrows. We'll get into that in a bit. It wasn't the atheist movement, it's the atheist identity movement view. New atheism is that just identity politics. So like, I can actually tell you what happened with the atheist movement. Because I was part of it. A lot of people in the atheist movement that I spoke with were absolutely disillusioned by the fact that it wasn't like the Christian morality or having to go to church, but it was that in their life, they had people that were extremely spiteful towards their hobbies. So like, if they like to listen to heavy metal, the people in their life despise that. If they wanted to watch slasher films, the people in their life despise that. Like, any type of hobby, anything that brought fun, you had like someone morally condemning them. And these people, when they grew up, they got jobs, and they were like respected members of community, much more respected than the people that were whining at them. They were like, dude, you're just a little fuck that's using religion to lecture me. Like, I'm a doctor, and you're unemployed. And you think you can morally judge me with your ideology because I watch slasher films. Or I like to listen to heavy metal. Who the fuck do you think you are? You know, you're going to fuck off from my life. I'm going to stop talking with you. Go fuck yourself. And that was pretty much it, right? Like, that was the cultural rift at the time. And so, like, they joined with other like-minded people that had similar experiences. And it's like, dude, I can't stand it anymore. Like, every time I go to my family dinner, there's this uncle that constantly morally judges me. And the motherfucker is a drunk. He's a drunk, an abusive husband, and, like, starts throwing Bible verses at me, complaining that I watch that I watch TV shows or I play video games or whatever the fuck, you know? Who the fuck is this guy? Like, why is he ruining every single family dinner that I have? It's like, well, obviously religion must be evil if it makes his brain into mush. And so, like, they joined together and they formed the atheist movement. And the purpose of the atheist movement was to be antagonistic towards the Christians, right? Like, how do we upset them? How, like, they fucked with us, how do we fuck with them? Okay, let's say that God is a noodle spaghetti monster. Let's put a satanic statue in front of the 10 Commandments. Like, let's fuck with them. Because they fucked with us, right? Like, why can't we fuck with them? And so that was what happened. But then you have, like, the elevator gate. So all of a sudden you have, like, women that are injecting themselves into the atheist movement. And they're like trying to make various rules for conventions, dress codes, what you're allowed to sell, what you aren't allowed to sell, starts toad policing, like all that shit. And they bring Atheism Plus now, right? Like, we're atheists plus social justice. And they created an event called Elevator Gate. Now, Elevator Gate was about a woman that had a guy in an elevator ask her for a cup of coffee. Now, there's no footage of that, no recording, but, like, she just claimed, I think her name was Rebecca Watson. She just claimed that this happened. And everyone said, see, this is why we actually do live in a rape culture. This is a patriarchy. And everyone that disagreed with her got ousted from the movement. And that's pretty much like the death of the atheism movement, because like they purity spiraled from that. And eventually it stopped being about atheism and it was only about social justice. Why am I an atheist? Because I don't believe in God. Like, I don't think religion itself is bad. Some of the Christian philosophy, I think it's good because it withstood the test of time for 1,000 years. But like, if you don't believe, like unironically, it's like very difficult to explain to a person who believes why I'm not a Christian. But it's kind of like this, you know, like, do you believe in the gods of, I don't know, the Indian religion, right? Like the Hindi gods. Do you believe in Krishna? The answer is no, right? Like, you don't believe in Krishna. Well, it's the same way, like, you don't believe in Krishna, I don't believe in Jesus. And so, like, if I don't believe in demons, and I don't believe in angels, and I don't believe in the supernatural, I can't believe in Christianity. Like, I can't call myself a Christian. Even if I was to follow the Christian teachings, I still wouldn't be a Christian because I don't think that the supernatural is real. Like, I haven't been convinced that the supernatural exists. Right? Like, I like Styx, Hex, and Hammer. I don't believe that Stolas is real. And so if you don't believe in the supernatural, then all the other the Christian teachings, to me, they're the same like the Declaration of the Independence, right? Or the American Constitution. Like, some of it is good, right? So I agree with the act itself. I know it's written by humans. I know that it withstood the test of time. I know that it does have like the bill mark for a good society. However, I can't believe in the rituals and the angels and the soul, the human spirit, the human soul. I don't believe in that. And so, like, if I can't believe in that, the only thing I could is to lie to you. Like, I can lie and I say that, yes, I'm a Christian, and I can pretend to be one, but I don't like lying. Like, it's not okay, you know? Blood for the Blood God, Shut Women Up are two of the greatest universal truths. Zlixian. Do you believe that atheists and plus played a huge role in activism we have today? I think like atheism, just like any other thing in culture, was co-opted, right? I don't think like atheism was co-opted because it was atheist, since you have like almost every aspect of society getting co-opted. You have sports getting co-opted. Like, sports weren't atheist. In fact, sports were patriotic, right? But the Dodgers bringing the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence on the stadium, that's not because, like, the Dodgers were atheists. You have brands, like Skittles getting co-opted, Gillette getting co-opted. So I don't think, like, the atheist movement is what caused the culture to shift. I think the banks is what caused culture to shift the moment people went against BlackRock and against the bailout of the banks. I think that's what got culture to shift, because, like, all of a sudden you have, like, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars pushed into this culture. And meanwhile, the right did nothing. Like, right-wingers didn't compete with pushing for money. And so, there you have it. You know, like one was having the finance and was having the young people willing to do the activism. And the other side was just old and didn't want to put the money. And I can tell you, like, how a right-winger thinks as well. Like, not the modern right-winger, but, like, how right-wingers from back then thought. And this is why we won. If you go to a right-winger and you were to say, okay, I have the possibility of creating a mainstream media outlet and I can push your message to the masses. Like, I'm a popular person. This is how many readers I get. This is my reach. And if you pay me, I can hire more people and I can get a studio and I can push whatever message you want me to the masses. The right-winger will say, well, what is the return on that? What is the return on investment? Like, how much is my approval rate going to rise? And I'm like, well, it's not how it works. You don't do that when it comes to politics. It's not like a financial business. It's not like a financial institution. We're talking about ideas. We're not talking about the product. Like, you want me to sell your ideas. I can package your ideas and I can make them seem believable, but it's your ideas. They may not actually be something that people want. And so I can't tell you just by how much it's going to rise, I can just, try to spread the message. This is how right-wingers think, right? Like they think in the terms of business transaction. Meanwhile, the left, they would spend like millions of dollars on various publications, and they spend money on like 100 publications to push their message. And out of those 100, like even if 20 of them manage to get the message that lands, then they get all the other publication to focus on the message that landed. And that's how they do activism. And so this is why right-wingers lost. Because they didn't view as an investment into packaging their ideas. They thought, well, no, our ideas are good, they're godly, they're just, people will believe in them. Well, it turns out no. Turns out that people didn't believe in them. And then they ended up with a problem where they lost control of the culture. Like they went from the Bush era, where to be called anti-patriotic was the same as being called racist. They went from that into a position where literally no one cared. They became Easter worshippers. They wouldn't even be called Christians by their politicians. Or be X, my answer is because it's improbable that 2,000 years ago a man came back to life, given all the other possible explanation of how the story came to be. Yeah, I mean, again, look, that's not even the one thing that I find improbable. Like the thing that really bothers me is like, okay, God is good, right? So God is just. All right, fine. So he's a benevolent creator, and he has a list of rules for me to live my life. Like I need to fast, I need to pray, I need to go to church, I need to change my behaviors, right? So like there's a huge list of things that you need to shape your life in order to reach heaven. Okay. But why are there other religions? Like why is there Islam? Why is there why is the Hindu religion? Why do we have Buddhism? Why do we have Taoism? How do I know that my religion is correct? Well, it's because, like if you actually analyze every religion, eventually you're going to find out that, well, but like hold on a little bit. That's not how people do, right? Like people take the religion of their parents down to the denomination. So like if I was to be born in China, I would probably believe in Confucianism. If I was in the Soviet Union, I would have to believe in atheism. You look at how the Muslims convert, they don't convert by persuading people, they convert by applying force, right? And then like let's say, okay, Christianity is the religion. Fine. Which denomination? Because like there's so many, and some denominations are excluding each other. Like if the Mormons are true, I as an Orthodox would probably go to hell. So this is okay, you're giving people a guideline on how to behave, but you're not even being specific about it. Like imagine if a society operated like this, where you have a code of laws that's pretty much up to interpretation. They're kind of vague in a lot of places, but that's not the problem. You have 1,000 code of laws, and one of them is correct, all the others are bad, and if you don't follow them, you end up in the electric chair. I mean, I don't think like a just person would do that, right? Like an actual creator that's just and benevolent would just give you the same way that an instruction manual exists, right? That doesn't remove free will. It still allows free will. You can still choose not to obey, just like there's people choosing to do crime, right? Like you can have people that choose to do sin. But at least you should know that, no, like this is the actual text. And the text should be written the same way like an instruction manual to build a chair. There's no different interpretations of building a chair. There's only one. Look what you're doing. You're bringing back the atheist in me. Holy shit. Why are you doing this, huh? Why are you asking me a question to start me to do the atheist stuff? Because I promised myself I wouldn't do it. I don't want to do it anymore. Don't want to do it. But I'm talking like from a personal reason on why I can't be a Christian. Because I don't believe in the supernatural. That's the main reason. It's just... LBG, Lyndon B. Johnson, JFK's vice president and successor. Oh, okay. LBG plus Israel took out JFK to make LBG president because JFK was inconvenient to Israel. Well, JFK should have got a president like J.D. Vance, right? I ironically pray to the 40K chaos gods in hopes to bring them into being. They make more sense than monotheistic religions. Well, to be fair, like, the idea of a benevolent God is actually specific to Abrahamic religions. Well, actually, I shouldn't say so, because I'm not really aware on how Eastern religions work. But if you look at the Roman gods, or the Greek gods, or even the pagan gods, most of them didn't like humans. Like, I mean, Apollo was arrogant as fuck. Hera was also very cruel to other women that Zeus would sleep with. And so, like, no, like, the people feared the gods. Like, the gods weren't benevolent. And to be honest, like, it makes more sense in that regards. But the idea was that the gods are petty, they're cruel. And the reason that you want to pray to them is because you want to make them happy. And you want to make them happy so they don't fuck with you, not so they give you anything. Like, if you pray to them, I mean, they're kind of like eldritch monstrosities. Like, they can turn you in a spider, they can give you snakes for hair. Like, that was the Greek gods, right? And so, like, you want to be on their good side so they don't fuck with you. And that like, to me, makes a lot more sense, you know? Because, like, that would actually give me, like, a more reason to believe in the supernatural. Because then it would be like, okay, well, they're not benevolent, so that's why there's many religions. They like to fuck with people. Right? Like, they like to mind fuck with people. They're cruel, they're petty. But they're more powerful than me. And if they're more powerful than me, to the point where they can send me to endless torture, and they can know my thoughts, and they can know everything I do, and well, then the only course of action, the only logical course of action is not to fuck with the eldritch entity. Lots of gods are benevolent. No, but I'm talking about, like, the gods as a whole, right? Like mankind as the center of the universe thing, and all the gods do is to try to make mankind comfortable. Like, that's a Christian worldview. Like, other religions don't have that, right? Like, Zeus didn't live to make mankind more and more happy. Like, Zeus was living, like he had his own agenda. He liked to fuck women, cheat on his wife. He liked to show the other gods that he is boss. He could be petty, cruel, vain. He had his own ambitions, right? Like to make rules so that he cheats the rules. He's a hypocrite. But he's extremely powerful, right? So, like, no one can do anything against him because he's Zeus. So, like, that was, like, a completely different mentality than the Christian one. Gods are projections of humanity. Greek gods are more relatable, like Batman, while Abraham God is aspirational, like Superman. To be fair, it's the Christian Abrahamic God that's more kind. Like, if you read the Old Testament, and you see, like, for instance, the walk in the desert with Moses. Like there are many places where God is incredibly unreasonable. And like, the people in the desert, they unironically feared him. Like, they didn't love him. Like, no, they were fearing. Like, that's where, like, the God-fearing thing comes from. They were terrified of him. Many Hindus see God as benevolent, like a parent. I prefer to be God-loving rather than God-fearing. Yeah, again, if religion was real, then it wouldn't matter what you prefer, right? Like, it would be what is. And I think, like, if you actually did have an entity, it would probably be more of a God-fearing than a God-loving. But anyway. Zeus, Jupiter, was the most benevolent god. I mean, the standard is pretty low, isn't it? like the standard is pretty fucking low. I don't think, like, Zeus was the most benevolent. The god of wine, I think that was Bacchus, right? Like, Bacchus, he was the most benevolent. Like, Bacchus just liked to party. He never, like, I think, like, throughout the entire Legends of Olympus, he doesn't hurt a single human. So, I wouldn't say that Zeus is the most benevolent. I'm trying to... Doesn't Zeus, like, actually the one that kills the entire humanity in the flood? Like, that's also something interesting. The flood exists in almost every single religious text. But anyway, right, I didn't want to get into the conversation of religion. I generally didn't. Like, you guys asked me what I believe. And so, you know. However, you know, and I keep saying this, I do think that Christianity as a philosophy, like as a religious text, is written by humans, and some of the parts there are good. There's a lot of stoicism taken from the Greeks. I think like Christianity is a very fulfilling religion. Like if you unironically believe in it, and it requires you to believe in it, I think it can improve your life. Like there are many people that found happiness through Christianity, which again is the reason that I decided to baptize my son. And when he is older, I'm not going to try to persuade him about anything. I'm going to allow him to choose his own path. So like, just because I'm not a believer doesn't mean that I dislike Christians. Now, I dislike moral busybodies of all ideologies, regardless if they're woke, Christian, atheist, Islam, I don't fucking care. Like, if you're coming into my business, into my kitchen, and start moralizing about how I live my life, or how I think, then you become a problem. Right? But like, other than that, if you're like, minding your own business, then I don't give a shit. And by the way, like, I think minding your own business is why Eastern Europe is still religious. Like for instance, like, I have a neighbor that's really religious, and he's fasting, and he doesn't work on a Sunday. He never criticizes me. If he sees me outside doing gardening on a Sunday, doesn't say shit. If he sees me not fasting, doesn't complain. Now, you know, he also does stuff that I don't like, and I don't complain. It's called tolerance and mutual respect. And we're neighbors, right? Like, I don't care how he treats his family while he does it in his house, right? And on the other hand, like, there are certain things that I don't do in order to piss him off. Like, I don't listen to music after 10 p.m. in order to, you know, with my window open so that it bothers him. I don't take the trash after 10 p.m. because it makes noise. I don't leave my trash next to his fence, even though I could, you know? So, like, I do things, he does things, and we find the middle ground. And this is, like, a much better way of viewing the world than, like, no, everyone needs to think like me. Like, unless every single person that is in society thinks like me, they're a danger to myself. If a single person thinks differently, they endanger my family, so I have to take care of them. Right? Like, this way of, like, forcing people to be Christians. Like, I need to get the state to force people into Christianity, right? Like, I don't think that works. I don't think, like, if you go in the judgment day and, you know, God asks you, like, what do you do for charity? Well, the government took my body and gave it to welfare. I don't think that counts as a virtue, right? Because, like, welfare forces you to donate to charity, if you think about it, right? Like, the government takes your taxes and redistributes the wealth. So, like, you are compelled. You're forced to do virtue, right? Like, everyone should be charitable. Why are you against taxes? I think, like, virtue comes from free will. I think it's not, like, forcing people or removing the sin from people. I think it's when a person has the virtue and the sin, and he chooses the virtue. I think that's true Christianity. At least, you know, in my interpretation of it, reading the text and what I got from it. Maybe wrong, you know, go ask a priest, ask your pastor. See if he agrees with me or not. Anyway. Let's talk about the article. Now this article is really omoshiroi. And it's omoshiroi because, the timing of it, as someone said. So the files aren't even up yet. And all of a sudden, Ben Shapiro's like, but why do you care? It's kind of like, you know, people complaining about video games. And it's like, dude, like, the women look like men in my... But why do you care, dude? Like, why do you care? You know, they're comparing about Walt Disney movies. It's like, but why do you care? They're not saying it's good or bad. They're saying, but why do you care? Can't you care about something else? Just don't look over here. Just don't look over here. Just look over there. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Just... So last week, the Trump administration released tens of thousands of documents speculating about the real explanation for JFK assassination has been an enormous cottage industry for decades. So 65% of Americans believe that people other than Lee Harvey Oswald were involved in the murder. At no point since the assassination have a majority of Americans believed that the truth is that Oswald was the lone gunman. Well, here's the thing, right? This explanation would mean that the truth can only come from the government. Right? So, like, the government never, throughout human history, has ever lied to its people. Especially a government that was looking for weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, was trying to say that COVID didn't come from Wuhan. Like, we need to assume that, no, actually, what the government says is always true. Now, obviously, you know, people who are born today, they didn't live through the JFK assassination, right? And there is no way to actually fact check it. Like, this is the reality. There is no way to know for sure what happened because we're not there. Like, you can see a couple of black and white video footages and you can see the documents of what people talked about. But, like, you can't actually physically go there. Like, that would be the only way of knowing, right? To physically be there and see the event for yourself and then be allowed to talk with the people involved with the affair. And that would actually show us, like, what happened. But since we can't do that, well, people like to speculate. Just like they like to speculate about everything. You know, like something happens at the office. And they don't like what the boss says. Can they say that, well, maybe the boss lied? Right? Like, let's put it this way. Let's say you have, like, this lady that has, like, some really nice tits. Plump ass, right? And she's in really good graces with the boss. And then the next day, the boss gets a divorce. The boss is sad. But then 2 days later, the boss actually works it out with his wife and the lady is fired. Now, the boss says that she got fired because she was late for work. Can you speculate? Like, are you allowed? Did you not think, like, the people at work will speculate? Well, maybe, you know, like, the wife gave him an ultimatum. Maybe he was cheating on the wife with her, you know? Like, people speculate all the fucking time. It's what people do. But the implication is, like, no, you must be mentally ill if you speculate. Like, you need to accept what the boss told you. Because if you don't accept what the boss told you, then you're mentally ill. This is what the Soviets used to do, by the way. Like, it's an interesting psyop. You can look it up on Wikipedia. It's called punitive psychiatry. They would use the psychiatric word as a punishment for people that didn't think the correct things. Right? Because if you don't think what the government tells you, you're mentally ill. And so there's a lot of reasons for people to speculate. Because unfortunately, you know, the government is more powerful than us. We owe taxes to the government. And there is no one to keep the government in check but the people. Like, the people are the only one that can keep the politicians in check. And so, like, the people should speculate. And in fact, in Eastern Europe, we always assume every single time that the government wants our well-being. And we have to make damn sure it doesn't get to take it from us. Because it really wants it. Like, it wants your well-being. So you need to defend that well-being. You need to make sure that the government doesn't take it away from you. And with that mentality, you always assume that the government is malicious. Why? Because it's made by human beings. I love the fact how a lot of leftists believe that rich people are evil. But for some reason, they don't believe that if the rich person becomes a politician, they can still be evil. Like, another interesting aspect is with the introduction of the income tax, right? Like, the income tax didn't exist because once people rebelled against the monarchy, they rebelled against the taxations, right? Like, and the American society also, they rebelled against taxes. Like, the idea of a tax was repugnant. Like, no, we're free people. We're not slaves. We're not peasants working. No, we're free. We don't want to pay taxes anymore. But the moment the income tax was placed, and by the way, I will tell you why the income tax was placed, and another reason to hate moral busybodies. But the reason that the moment the income tax was paid, the government realized that it can generate wealth from its people. So instead of making sure that people are represented, it then moved on to exploiting the people. Because now the people are a source of exploitation. And by the way, the income tax, American outlier, I know you're a historian, please correct me if I'm wrong. It comes with the prohibition. You know, a lot of moral busybodies, and especially like people with crosses in the bio on Twitter, they absolutely love the prohibition now. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with them, but it is what it is. Alcohol was a very profitable industry in the United States of America. And it paid a lot to the budget in taxes. And so when it came about banning it, they were worried that if they ban it, they can't replace those taxes. And they came up with the idea of the income tax. fucking mortal busybodies, man. Just fucking mortal. I fucking despise them. Every single one of them. Like there is absolutely nothing positive about the moral busybody, ever. Numbers are transcendental, says John Pro. Any given number exists independent of any individual cognition and can be seen or interacted with. Is this enough to be considered supernatural in your opinion? That's way too deep and philosophical for me at this hour. Just because you frame it in a different way, in a more complex way, I wouldn't say that numbers are supernatural. Like, numbers are a concept, right? And because human beings share the same brain, we are capable of understanding the same concept. And 2 + 2 = 4 regardless of where you are. But I don't think it's supernatural. I think it's natural because it can be observed. Now, the number itself can't be observed, right? Like, this is the ability of our brain to create abstracts, to create social abstracts, right? So, like, in our mind, they exist. But they exist in our mind because we look at real events and we transcend them into our brain. But they're based on real events, and we know that numbers are real because when you send a shuttle on a comet, you use math, and if you get the math right, the shuttle lands on the comet. If you get the math wrong, the shuttle explodes. And so we know that the numbers aren't fictional because we can apply them to the real world, and we can see the real events if you apply them correctly. Now, if you could do the same with God, right, and you could use the scientific theory to prove God is real, the same way you can use the scientific theory to prove that numbers are real, then sure, I would believe in the supernatural. Yeah, like if you show me an angel, and you can show me beyond the reason of a doubt, right, like he is an angel, and even if he exists only in my brain, right? Like, if all of a sudden, like, there's this entity in my brain that only I can see, but I'm, like, certain 100% convinced that they're real, then yeah, I would probably believe. From the perspective of other people, I would probably look crazy. But, like, yeah, no, like, if you had, like, this entity that existed in your mind, and they're an angel, right? Like, they're an Uchikushi Sakubasu. And you can see it, and she talks with you, and then, like, she jumps into another person next to you, and you can't see it anymore, but the other person can now see it. Yeah, like, even though, like, it's not something concrete, it's not something that you can see with your own eyes, but, like, you experience it telepathically, like, that would be enough to convince me that it's a supernatural entity, right? Like, when you talk to the other person, like, what, was that thing in your head? It's like, yeah, it was in my head earlier. Holy shit. What did she look like? Oh my god, that's the way I saw it, right? So, like, if that was the case, yeah, sure. Betty Hindus, you got... Okay, I read your... Sorry. If you wear the wrong shirt, numbers don't matter. As long as you cannot use someone else's brain, you cannot say you are real. Oh, well, this is... what is it? Like Descartes' Inferno? Or... There was, like, a philosopher that basically tries to say... How do you know you're not a brain in a jar? Like how can you know you're not in the Matrix would be, like, the more, right? So seriously, like, how can you... Because after the Matrix movie came up, like, a lot of people were saying, like, how do you know we're not in a simulation? And it's an interesting question, right? Like, how do you know? How do you know that you're not a brain in a jar? Because at the end of the day, like, you'd only experience the stimuli that are in the jar, and, like, this entire world would be your imagination. And the answer to that question was, well, I think, therefore I am, right? So you can at least know that the brain exists. Like, you can be certain of that. But everything else is uncertain. And so there is a thing in mathematics where you can, like if you don't know something, you can assume it to be true. Like, you can say, all right, well, up until this point, like, I can't prove any of this, but let's assume that this is the case, like, this is true, and we can work from there so that you don't get stuck, pretty much, right? And so, like, you assume that the world is real, even if you have, you know, the only evidence is subjective, because you can theoretically, hypothetically speaking, be a brain in a jar, but we make the assumption that, no, this is real, right? And so everything flows from there. And that's how you solve that dilemma. Descartes. Okay, Descartes. How do you know you're you're not a literal NPC and you're the brain? Well, you think, therefore you are. The dilemma was it's easier for a brain to exist in the void than for the universe to be as it is. Yeah, but like not all the time what's easier is what is. Like sometimes extremely complex and difficult things exist, even though they shouldn't. And so not everything can be rationalized away. Well, this is easier, so this must be the case. Anyway. So perhaps that's because the idea of a lone gunman achieving such a high-profile assassination on camera in the modern age seems so unthinkable. No, it's not just like the gunman that's the problem. Like the government, you know, if it's capable of only producing the truth, well, the government is all-powerful, all-knowing, omniscient, right? And it kind of pretends to be. Like, when's the last time that the government said that they don't have any idea of what happened, that they don't know? Like, even no matter the event, the government always has an idea and they always have a plan. Did you notice that, right? And so it's unthinkable that the most powerful government in the world failed to protect one of the most important people in that government. That's the reason why people don't believe it. It's like, how is it possible that the United States government failed to protect the president? I mean, the government, again, like, it has all these rules, and it's cracking down on it's cracking down on social media with censorship and with all of these things, and it's taxing us, and it's doing all these things to keep us safe, and yet it can't keep safe the most important the most important person in the government, in the administration. That's why people are one of the main reasons that are baffled. Right? Like, regarding the shot and whatnot, okay, fine, you know, But Ben Shapiro concludes that president assassinations are shockingly common. Well, like, I'm sure, you know, like, but like, one is the assassination of Ferdinand that started World War I, where the guy walks up to him with a pistol, right? And it's another thing that if I was to say that I was sitting on a slope roof, which, you know, even the Secret Service is incapable of sitting on, and I'm making like this weird shot with a magic bullet that zigzags through the, you know? Like, it's not impossible, but, like, if it's extremely difficult, then it raises questions. The trend correlate with a radical increase in distrust in government in general. 77% of Americans said that they trusted the government to do the right thing always, or most of the time, but then that number dropped. What's wrong with people not trusting the government? Like, have we created a new religion where the government is the deity and everyone is to trust it? Like, who watches over the government? What are the checks and balances of the government? The people, right? Shouldn't the people be distrustful of the government and question everything? And the government should have the correct explanations, right? Like, does the government trust me? I mean, up to a point, right? The same that it trusts all people. Like, if you don't pay your taxes on time, don't you get audited? If you suddenly make more money than usual, don't you get audited? Like, should I say to the government, it's a conspiracy theory. Why are you auditing me? I always pay my taxes. There's no evidence. There's no evidence that I don't pay my taxes. Right? Like, the government doesn't trust its citizens. Why did Joe Biden lift those huge fences around Washington, D.C. after he got inaugurated? So, how is this a relation of mutual respect? The government doesn't trust its citizens, so why should the citizens trust the government? No. At the end of the day, the government is made out of people, and people inherently, especially strangers that we don't know face to face, we don't get to talk to, we don't get to interact with, are untrustworthy. Not to mention, like, most of the politicians just read from a script. They don't even have the courtesy of having a speech. And so, yeah, like, distrust in the government is actually a good thing. And even Ben Shapiro agrees with me. It's perfectly normal. And even an admirable feature of American political life dating back to the founding. The founders distrusted the government not to abuse the rights of the individuals, and so sought checks and balances to protect. See, Ben Shapiro agrees with me. My fucking God. I am so happy that my understanding of politics rivals that of Ben Shapiro. Since the 1960s, American distrust of the government has been matched by a massive expansion of governmental intrusion, all of which suggests that our modern distrust of government carries with a different flavor, a flavor of the conspirational. The founders believed that ambition was common to all men and that ambition thus had to counteract ambition. Today, America instead believes that the problem is that our government is staffed by uniquely bad men. It's kind of like a reduction to suggest that men are good or bad. I think like men have their own interests, right? Because I can imagine how I would behave if I got in power. If I got in power, I would look after myself, number one, my family, number two, and then other people. And I think like this is normal for every human being on earth. I think like the exception would be different, where people make decisions that would be detrimental to them and their family, but, you know, like they do it because of the people. And so, with that in mind, yeah, I think that the people in the government are looking for their own interests, which sometimes may align with mine, sometimes they may not. Like, for instance, Elon Musk doing Dodge. I think he's looking after himself, like he's grifting for himself, but like his grift just coincides with what the people want. He's not like, Milton Friedman explains this very well. He says that in order for good to happen, you don't need to elect good politicians. That's not how it works. You need to make it profitable for politicians to be good. The founders were right. The corruption of government is innately connected to its scope, but today America instead believes that the corruption of government is simply question of the wrong people controlling the government. The problem isn't a government with too much power, but a government controlled by enemies. Now, undoubtedly, there are powerful people in government, and certainly there have been conspiracies of such awful people within government. For example, Anthony Fauci led attacks career staffers who opposed COVID lockdowns. But if we misattribute broad and endemic problems to government to such conspiracies, despite all evidence, we miss the point. We maintain the size of the scope of the government. Well, okay, here's the thing, right? He is correct. Like, if the government was small, it wouldn't matter who leads it. If the government is small, then it can't fuck with you. And so, in that situation, yeah, you can have bad people staffing the government because it's small. It's insignificant. But we don't have a small government. We have a big government. And if you have a big government, then you need your people in the government so that the opposition doesn't fuck with you. Sorry about that. Like, it's cultural, right? If you have people that constantly fuck with you, and they say the most vile shit about you, like they really hate you, then you need to make sure that they don't get their guy in office so that you're under the boot. What you need to do is to get your guy in office so that they're under the boot. And this is why the mentality, for my friends everything, for my enemies the law. It's self-preservation, really, right? Like, you're just playing by the meta. You're not playing by the rules. I mean, the rules are created, and we saw what happened when the opposition gets in government, when, you know, like, leftists get in power, and the stuff that they do, and the unhinged things that they say on Twitter. And so they scare us. And when we're scared, we get together and we invoke El Demonio, Donald Trump. And now we sick Donald Trump on them so that they're busy with Donald Trump and they leave us the fuck alone. And I'm pretty sure, you know, like, if in the future our generation fucks too much with them, then they will get together and they will summon El Demonio, which may be AOC or whomever the fuck comes after Trump. So that, you know, we get to fight AOC and she fucks with us constantly, and they'll get to left alone so that they can do their pride marches and whatever the fuck else they want. Now, regarding Ben Shapiro, very interesting. I saw one TikTok video saying that the assassination happened a long time ago. So if it's in the past, why do people care? You know, in history, I learned about, in school, you know, I learned about one of humanity's most tragic events, like throughout the entire human history. The most tragic event, like no other event was as tragic as that. And that happened long ago. I wonder if the ADL knows what Ben is suggesting here. Like, I think we should care about the past, though. I think, like, things that happened in the past are important. Because usually history just rhymes, you know? It doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And so, it's important to learn from it. Yeah, like, if the government did neglect to protect JFK, we need to know, like, how was it possible? How was the government so incompetent? Because apparently, like, it almost happened again. Like, they almost tried to assassinate Trump, right? And so, we need to see. And if it was malice, then who did it? And the people who did it, right? Like, if it was an agency, like, we need to see. Like, maybe they had too much power, right? Like, how was this possible? Why could they operate with such impunity? If it was, like, some lobbyist groups, some foreign activist groups, like, who were they? What did they do? So this is why people care, Ben. Also, it's nice trivia as well. Like, it's interesting knowing, like, finding out the mystery. Like, interesting how Ben didn't release an article called It Doesn't Matter Who Jack the Ripper Was. Right? Did you guys notice that? Like, they apparently found DNA. And they finally uncovered who Jack the Ripper would have been. And apparently it was a Polish barber. And then there were, like, some other details there that I noticed. But Ben Shapiro didn't get upset about that, you know? Like, he didn't release an article saying it doesn't matter who Jack the Ripper was. But, like, even today, after so many years, people were still curious about who Jack the Ripper was, right? Like, huh? Isn't that interesting? Like, why do people care about Jack the Ripper? I mean, it happened so long ago, happened in a different nation. But it's a mystery, right? Like, you want to know, you're curious. People want to know about Area 51, right? Why do people want to know? Because it's a mystery, right? And sometimes people want to know mysteries. When they will travel to the moon again, people will want to see the flag. Same reason, right? Like, a good mystery requires a solving. Anyway, I'll leave it here. Thank you guys for watching. Gonna upload the videos on my other channels. Hopefully you guys got entertained. Again, the problem is that if I try to think about the most anti-Semitic website that I know, I don't know if Fuentes runs the website, but if he wanted to satirize the release of the JFK videos and he was to make a video about it, I don't think he could have made a better article than the one Ben did. Like, this thumbnail, this title, like, you just can't. Like, I wonder if Ben is aware of how this looks, the optics of it. And if he is, then the only reason he would have written such a thing is to see who takes the bait. Like, see who tries to interact with this article in any way that's not 100% an approval. Maybe it's a bait for Candace Owens, I don't know. Let me know what you guys